Section 12.5, circles in the coordinate plane. So today we're going to talk about writing the equation of a circle and how to find the center and the radius from said equation in order to do so. So the equation of a circle is based on the distance formula and the fact that all the points on the circle are equidistant from the center. So remember, this is the distance formula. And so over time they took the distance formula and they transformed it into the equation for a circle. The equation for a circle, such that your center is the values h and k with radius r, is given by the equation the quantity x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. And keep in mind that the h and k represent the coordinate of your center, and r is the length of your radius. And in this case, x and y will remain as your variables, but are essentially could be any of the endpoints on the circle itself. Here they want the standard equation of a circle with a center of 2 and a radius of 7. So remember, the center is h and k, this is our radius, and our general formula for circles is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So we're going to go ahead and plug in what we know. Well, we know h and k, so we're going to have x minus 2 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals your radius squared. And for the radius squared, we can go ahead and multiply this out. So 7 squared would be 49. So this becomes your equation of the circle in standard form. Same idea. They tell you the center here is 0, -3, and the radius is 8. So that's our r. Now we want to put this equation into standard form. So we've got x minus h again squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So let's go ahead and plug in what we know. X minus h would be x minus 0 squared plus y minus a -3 squared equals 8 squared. And we could go ahead and multiply the 8 squared and get 64, but in reality we also need to clean up some of the stuff inside the parentheses, because minus a negative is like adding the opposite, so this should be plus now, and we really don't need this piece here. 0 doesn't change anything. So our final answer, if we want to simplify it down, is x squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 64. Here we're doing the same thing. We want to write the equation, the standard equation of a circle with a center of -4, -1. So this is h, this is k, this is your r. So let's go ahead and plug this in to our formula. We know we have x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Well, we can go ahead and simplify this a little better, so we're going to go ahead and simplify some things. Minus a negative is like adding the opposite, so x plus 4 squared, and then minus a negative, that's like adding, so we would put a plus 1 here, squared, and then the square root of 2 squared is just 2. So this is the equation of your circle. Here it asks, what is the standard equation of a circle with a center? So they give us h and k of 1, -8, but a point on the circle at 6, 4. Well, in order to find the radius, we're going to have to set up the distance formula, because that's what they didn't give us. So we're going to use these 2 points to find the radius. So we'll use the distance formula. So we're going to take 6 minus 1 squared plus 4 minus a -8, so plus 8 squared. And this is going to give us we'll get the square root of 25 plus 144, which is 169. So this is just 13. So our radius is 13. So now taking h and k and our radius, we can write our equation of a circle. It's going to be x minus 1 squared plus y plus 8 squared equals 13 squared, which would be 169 in this case. And there's our equation of a circle. Second example, same idea. They give us the center of 2, -1, and they've given us a point on the circle. So we have to find the radius using the distance formula. So we'll set up the distance formula. So we've got 2 minus 2 squared plus 3 plus 1 squared. Well, that's going to be the square root of 16, which is going to be 4. So our radius is just 4. Now that we know our radius and h and k, we can write our equation. So we've got x minus 2 squared plus y plus 1 squared equals 4 squared, which would be 16. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Pause the video, try it on your own, and when you're done, unpause it to see the answer. So you would have used the distance formula to find the radius. When all is said and done, you get the radius to equal 4. Then taking your center point of -2, 6, you create your equation x plus 2 squared plus y minus 6 squared equals 16. Here we're looking at taking an equation of a circle and then graphing that circle from the equation. So to do this, we have to pull out a few pieces of information from the equation. We've got to find hk, which is our center, and we also have to determine what our radius is. So based on what we know about circles, this value represents h. So our center is at 8, and then there's no other value with the y, so that means that k should be 0. So our center is at 8, 0, and our radius in this case, well, we'll just square root this value, and our radius should just be 3. Our grid isn't big enough for 8, 0, so we're going to have to count by 2s on the x-axis and the y-axis. So we're counting by 2s. So we're going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 4, 6, 8. 8, 0 puts our center here. And then if our radius is 3, we'll just go 1.5, 1.5, half, and then 1.5. So we get enough points there, and then we can create our circle accordingly. Oops. Create our circle. I'll just try to draw the circle the best I can. Try to keep your edges rounded, but that's what our circle would look like. Now let's try another one. All right, so we're going to do the same thing here. We want to find h and k, which is our center, and our radius. Well, this is a +1 when the formula calls for a -1, so that means h is actually -1. Take the opposite out of it. This is 2, so k is 2. So our center is -1, 2. And then our radius, we're just going to square root this value, so we get 5. So we put our first point at our center, -1, 2. Then we apply our radius in 4 different directions. So we go up 5, we're going to go to the right 5, we'll go down 5, and we'll go to the left 5. And now we're just going to try to draw the circle the best we can. Not the greatest circle, but we get the general idea. There we go. So that's our circle. Here it asks, write the standard equation of the circle by merely taking the values from the circle and using them that way. Rather than them providing the coordinates, we have to find them. So here, our center is this point here. So that means hk in this case is the point 0, 3. And then your radius, if you count, 1, 2, is just 2. So our equation when we set this up would be x minus 0 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 4. And then in the second example, same idea. Your center in this case is the point 2, 2. your radius, you count 1, 2, 3, 4. The radius is 4. So we set up our equation. X minus 2 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 16.